Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Ratchet and Kit. So we're on to Ratchet's level, which functionally has the same gimmick as Rivet's last level, where you have or one of Rivet's previous levels, where you kind of bounce back and forth between two kind of things.
Oh, from
Well, that's like the whole thing with the game, right? Is that like they wanted to do a lot with that?
Not, they don't do as much of it as you think they would. It's more about just how big and expansive and how fast it loads and stuff.
but this is one of the levels that jumps back and forth between two different realities of the level.
Yeah.
Doing it more than once is still a step up from doing it exactly one time, like they did in with the time travel level in Crack in Time. I think it was exactly one time at any rate. I actually need to like seriously finish that game. Ugh. Okay.
I liked just the reassuring head pat, like everything will be okay, and then like the backing away slowly, kind of uh, miss to it.
Okay, so we've landed Count Dooku's spaceship again, and we're off to another level. It's a Ratchet and Clank game. Woo, adventure.
Venture Ho. This is one of the, I think, weirder levels in the game because it's not per. It's combat oriented in some ways, and the other it's like mostly atmospheric. There's a lot of weird downtime in this particular planet compared to other stages,
I'm glad they're
but we'll get to that as we go along.
I'm glad they're at least trying to mix the pacing up. I would have picked something a little different than Deadpool's oil refinery to do that in, though.
I mean, we'll get to the other half of the area soon enough. So
Yeah, I mean that's you do have to have slower levels, especially in a fast-paced action game. Otherwise, there's just no break, and that can make it feel tiring.
Getting the slow parts of a game right can be trickier than getting the fast parts of a game right, though.
Yeah, because like it's often the slower parts that people complain about. Like the classic example of a slower paced section meant to give a change of pace and cool things off is the water level. And water level is like very commonly cited as one of the
worst levels
one
in
of
the
the
game.
worst levels in the game in nearly every game it's in.
Well, that often has less to do with the pace of the level and more to do with what the water does to your control. People find that frustrating. And, I can understand why. Sometimes I would argue, in some cases, it does interesting things for your control. But it also depends on what genre you're talking about, because the water level complaint is mostly a complaint with platformers. I don't think you'll see many people complaining about water levels as a concept in, say, a Tomb Raider game, where they can actually be quite interesting.
So this is maybe isn't wait Tomb Raider's a platformer though.
Well, it's a platformer, but it's like a Prince of Persia style platformer, so people don't really think of them when you say the word platformer, you know? It's all about deliberate positioning and stuff. It's slow paced by default is what I'm saying. Like, unless you really know what you're doing and know the controls like the back of your hand, you are not speeding through those levels, which is why Tomb Raider 2 having a you need to run as fast as you can and jump through all these obstacles death trap challenge at the end of its first level was such a goddamn difficulty spike. Tomb Raider 2, why?
Is Tomb Raider 2 considered like bad?
No, it's just like it's kind of got the same difficulty curve relative to the first game as Super Mario Brothers: The Lost Levels compared to Super Mario Brothers 1. It basically starts at the difficulty point the first game ended on.
Ah, I see.
So Tomb Raider 2 is hard. And to be fair to Tomb Raider 2, because Tomb Raider 1 was like the first of its specific style, starting from that point isn't entirely unreasonable. But Like, there was a reason Tomb Raider 1 didn't have very many enemies with guns in it. That's because you had no way of dodging damage when guns were around. So, of course, Tomb Raider 2 has the Venice level, where, like, every fucking where you go, there's gunmen waiting to pot shot you from just off screen. And it's like, it feels kind of like you're just trying to eke out an existence from checkpoint to checkpoint and medkit to medkit, you know?
I guess. I do think that Tomb Raider also has the unfortunate situation of having fairly aged controls.
There's
too,
that too.
Which makes certain things harder.
There's that too, yeah. But even as someone who's gotten used to the tank control platforming that Tomb Raider has, Tomb Raider 2 can really, like, kick you in the dick at times. I say this as someone who, in Tomb Raider Chronicles, went out of my way to not only unlock the harder version racing challenge at the end of the tutorial level, but also to win it. So, I'm fairly good at jumping around through the obstacle challenges in old school Tomb Raider. It's just, you know, in Tomb Raider 2 it gets to the point where there's no room for error at times. And, yeah. They also, like, I don't use the Super Mario Brothers Lost Levels comparison lightly, because Tomb Raider 2 pulls things with its secrets as well. Like, in Tomb Raider 1, you fought exactly one Tyrannosaurus Rex. It was a boss fight. It was a hard boss fight, but, you know, it was in a wide open space, so you could run around and shoot the thing until it was dead. Tomb Raider 2 has this secret treasure area that you can find. And there's no way for a Tyrannosaurus Rex to have gotten there physically, but there's one down there. I have no idea why, and once you kill it and take the treasure, on your way out, a fucking second one comes at you. There's no place for it to have been hiding. There's no way it could have gotten down there, but there's a second one, and it's coming for you. Oh, man.
When are you gonna record Tomb Raider already? Jeez.
I keep thinking that I want to do it, but, like, I keep getting really indecisive about which game to start with. Should I do the reboot? Should I do Tomb Raider Legend? Should I do Anniversary? Should I actually bite the bullet and do one of the old school ones? Which I actually need to, like, practice at to get good at again, because I don't use that kind of control style often. I thought maybe I would do Tomb Raider 2, because it was the first one I actually played. But every time I think about actually playing through Tomb Raider 2 to the end, I die a little inside, and I hear an inner voice whimpering, no, please, don't do this to me. I thought about doing one of the, like, back-end Tomb Raider games from the old core design days, Tomb Raider 3, or Chronicles, or... did I say Chronicles when I talked about the tutorial level? I know it wasn't Chronicles I was talking about. It was Tomb Raider 4. I'm pretty sure. Whichever fucking one was set in Egypt the entire time. I don't remember this shit off the top of my head. Okay. What's this?
He looks like the guy from Portal, kind of.
I mean, he's kind of like that.
Wheatley?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Little
Like,
bit.
I haven't seen
Kinda.
Portal
Yeah.
2 footage in a million years, but
I can sort of see it. Wheatley was more gray, but he certainly had the one eye in the middle with the, like, circular closing and opening eyelid thing going on.
I do love how expressive the characters in this game are. That is, I think character animation especially has gotten really, really good over the past couple of years. And
Expressive character animation was kind of always one of Ratchet's strengths. Well, more so in the cutscenes. Like, it fell a bit short of Jak and Daxter when it came to in-game player animation, but, like, it did really well in terms of expressing character. And I feel like if there's any game series that could really push the, oh wow, look at how Pixar this is, feeling of a of a modern 3D platformer, it would be the Ratchet series.
Man, every time I think about we talked about this a little bit earlier, the look how Pixar this is stuff. I do think that you could probably show some cutscenes from a game and think that they're from a legitimate movie. And I don't. Okay, I'm gonna take that back. Saying legitimate movie makes it act as though like
You mean
this
like
stuff isn't legitimate. But
you mean like from a
yes,
AAA quality movie, you know?
yeah, yeah, exactly.
The thing is, AAA quality movies and AAA quality games, they're not so different in terms of the kind of production that needs to go into them. The only difference is that one is entirely in CGI and the other often involves live action components. But even with that, the live action components in modern movies, especially fantastical ones, have been shrinking.
Well, yeah, I think we're at the point. I mean, we also say this, it feels like every other commentary. We're getting to a point where the difference between, like, the difference in technology for movies, too, is shrinking and shrinking. So, making more movies will make you more money as a corporation than making fancier movies. So, with that said, if you can make them a little bit more, efficiently, then that will do you a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and with that said, do think we have seen an uptick in like Pixar movies over the past couple of, not just Pixar,
Yeah.
but like 3D movies and animation in general. I think has increased a lot over the past couple of years. I think it also helps that in pandemic time, you can do an animated movie mostly from home. Theoretically, whereas that's a lot harder to do when everybody has to be on set.
Well, not necessarily from home exactly, because that's not quite so secure, and they want to keep their shit like from leaking too much. But you can set up more like socially distant workstations at the very least.
People can be more isolated, at the very least.
Yeah. Man, it's getting to the point where we're like almost but not quite on the other side of this thing, and nope,
COVID numbers are going back up.
Well,
cases
is one thing, but like just in general, the social impact of it, rather than just people getting sick, and you know, that's fine. Different variants are not as dangerous as others. People still need to be careful, but you know, there's less push now to always be careful in the big ways, and you know, that's why I say we're almost but not quite on the other side of this thing. There's still problems, but oi. Hello.
Is that guy chasing you throughout the whole level?
Parts of it. We see him skulking around in other areas.
Okay.
Doing the zany jokes thing. Here we go. It's fine. He just wants some pets. That's all.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Like how? Oh, okay. Sorry. The nice water, says Meme vs. Guy from 2014. Like the water ripples in this, I'm really liking. But how, like, I know that the older Ratchet and Clank games, you said they have like a somewhat drier sense of humor in a lot of ways.
Drier. They have a drier presentation as part of the satire. Like, there's not much whimsy to the way they present the world. It's all just kind of like flat and deadpan. Not voice acting, but in terms of like the mood the game treats the subject matter with. I guess it's hard to describe. Whereas like modern Ratchet is like more deliberately a traditional adventure game, so they're more likely to bring out the orchestral score or the emotional music for an emotional cutscene.
Yeah, I
So,
guess that makes some amount of sense.
whereas when the old Ratchet games, particularly 1 and 2, did get emotional, they usually didn't bother with music. They just let the characters speak for themselves, you know? And it worked. It worked in its way. It presented a different, like, feeling for the thing, and it also has this feeling of not trying to make the player feel anything, which in some ways can make the emotions more genuine. But, you know, it depends on your particular mood. Some people actually are going to like modern Ratchet more than old Ratchet, and, you know, that's perfectly legitimate as an opinion. I'm not going to tell you that you have trash taste for liking new Ratchet more than old Ratchet. It just has a different feeling to it. And for some people, that feeling hits better than others. I just played old Ratchet first.
That makes sense. When you're flipping between two dimensions in this game, are you flipping between Ratchet's dimension and
I don't
Rivet's
think it
dimension?
ever specifies specifically.
They never specify specifically. Okay.
But yeah, we bullshit our way in here. So by pretending to be interior decorators.
Good old bluff rolls. Okay, so
We need to press the button.
I keep getting close enough up to Ratchet's face in these cutscenes to see that he has lips, and it's so weird. Even though I know it makes sense.
Do we press the skull or do we press the regular button?
Oh yeah, you're right. He does have lips. It's really strange because a lot of cartoon characters just don't have lips.
Well,
and it's so weird.
Well, most cartoon characters don't have, like, three-dimensional animations to worry about, so you don't get all those camera angles that, like, show the inside of their mouth quite so much. It would be very visually weird if Ratchet's furry-ass face just terminated at empty space and teeth. So they need the lips there. It's a little less nonsensical than modern Sonic the Hedgehog games, just emphasizing the brown around Sonic's lips for no reason, because that needed to happen.
I mean, on the bright side, we got Ugly Sonic back for a movie.
Oh, dude.
That was some Chip and Dale thing?
The Chip and Dale, which is also, I haven't watched it yet. The Chip and Dale movie done by the Lonely Island people. It's still just such a strange, like, combination of things.
They probably just had the assets lying around from the early drafts of the Sonic movie and figured, hey.
Well, no, because this is Disney. Disney did this movie.
That doesn't necessarily mean it's not the same assets, though.
Man, it's just such an anti-Disney, like,
joke.
Like just production in general. Like, Disney doesn't tend to purposefully tries not to be mean-spirited with their media, because they don't want to offend anybody. And I'm not saying that in like a, oh, the liberals are too easily offended kind of way. I'm saying that in a, Disney wants to make the most money and have the widest audience possible kind of way.
They tend to keep their jokes, like, away from making fun of other people and other companies. So yeah, I kind of get that, but at the same time,
and so having this movie where they're like making fun of like the original Sonic movie design, it's so not like them. It's really weird. With that said, I also I'm sure the movie's really funny. There's just a lot of really weird, I'm not sure how much I would actually like it is a thing.
The other odd thing about that particular joke, setting aside the fact that it's like very directly making fun of another company is, you know, stuff, or maybe even that studio's previous work under another company. I haven't researched this deeply, but the thing is, it's a very pop cultural referential joke. It's sort of the thing I would expect from Family Guy. And
yeah, the whole movie's like that, from what I can tell.
Yeah, so like, I don't know.
I mean, I guess it's different, so for Disney anyway.
Well, different for Disney, but same old for everyone else. So, you know,
Yeah.
Points retracted, I guess. Oh boy.
Yeah, I don't know.
I keep forgetting that this bomb glove, like, scatters these exploding fucking dark eco crystals all over the place.
It does seem a lot of fun to use, though, like the bomb glove. Like, it does legitimately seem like a really, really cool weapon.
The bomb glove is a Ratchet and Clank classic, but, like, I like these variations on it where there's an after effect to the bomb. The original bomb glove was the first weapon you started Ratchet and Clank 1 with, and it was really just you threw a bomb, and it soft locked onto enemies in front of you, you know? So, it was a good weapon, and for a little while it was like your best weapon, because because you did get the blaster relatively soon after, but the blaster didn't have as much punch, so you'd be, you know, switching back and forth between the blaster and the bomb glove depending on how close you wanted to get to the enemy.
Uh-huh.
And Earth Shatter Blast is max level, so I am not going to use it anymore.
Oh, great.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can't use a weapon if it's gonna be maxed out.
The XP. If it's going to be an XP hog, I might as well use something else.
Yeah, that's kind of like the thing that I was kind of complaining about when I said I didn't like the upgrade system too much. It's that tendency to not want to use your weapon once you've finished leveling it up. If you're wasting your XP gains, then it just feels like you have an obligation to use something else. Mm-hmm. Which means you're going to be going through the entire end of the game with the weapon you didn't want to use during the early game, you know?
Oh, when I get to the final boss, I don't give a shit anymore. But
I remember when I recorded Fire Emblem Awakening for the channel, I used the crappy weapons through the entire game, and on the last fight, I brought out like every mythical, stupid, overpowered weapon that you got from like Spot Pass DLC and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure I beat Grima in like 2 attacks or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah,
it was dumb. But that tends to happen.
Yeah. I don't know. I broke myself of the habit of being too stingy with weapon durability in Fire Emblem when I was playing Three Houses, because it really does help to just use your stuff, you know?